guys, did you know that you could change the details that you see on the job card on each board? So on any board that you're looking at, all of the job cards, these three data sets in the middle, these three lines, are customizable. They'll be the same for every card on that board, but can be customized by each board. So if I wanted to change, right now I've got these on my company overview board, I have the status that that job is in, the dollar amount owed on approved invoices, I believe, and the type of job, the type of workflow that that job is. So if I wanted to make a change to that, I could come up here to my three dots and edit my board the same way I would do if I were adding a status to the workflow. And then you have customize the body for cards. So these three lines are the customizable items that you have on the job card for that board. So right now, like I said, I have status name, approved estimate total, okay, approved estimate total, and record type name. So I could put multiple things on here. I could put status and record type on the same line. So I could do this. And then if you wanted to add something new here, there are some preset items that are listed under the job. If you're working on a work order board, this section would be work order. But I could add the address, the lead source, the job name, number, start date, all these info. You can see them here. The custom section, though, is really where we can get super detailed. You also have the other section, which is like some of approved estimates, some of approved invoices, those sort of things if you want to see some financial records. But the custom section, this is going to pull everything that we have available in the job fields within this system. So in this system, we have trades 1, 2, 3, 4, color code, claim number and insurance policy, etc. So if I wanted to see the shingle manufacturer for all of the jobs on the card specifically, so this is something that I use pretty frequently when I'm doing like the production board. I might put this on the production board pretty often. So I could add that. Now once I add that, it obviously says all the custom ones aren't quite as easy to read. But you can add, so if we have anything here that is a number, like let's say we wanted to put claim and policy number. Let's say we did a ton of insurance and I wanted to put claim and policy number. So I'll put policy number and then claim number. Let me put policy number first. Policy number. Dude. All right, so we'll have policy number and then claim number, okay? But the thing about policy number and claim number is that the way that I've built those custom job fields, they are just a number right in. So if I save that, probably none of my test jobs have that in there, so I'll need to add something in there. So right now it's blank. Let's take Emma Tester here and let's put a policy number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and claim number C1234. Great. Save that, give that a quick refresh, and then Emma Tester shows C1234 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So if you're filling in something that's numbers, let's say you have like a job field for projected total dollar or something along those lines that is a dollar amount, like just like we have $0 here. If you want that to say what that is, you can also go back into the edit and you can write in, I think this is still backwards, claim number and policy number. Right, so I can add claim number and policy number that way, and then it'll say claim number, policy number if it's not written in, so it's easy to identify what should be there. And then you can see claim number C1234 and policy number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you can write in anything you want to on that line. I've also at times used emojis. I've worked with some clients who want to fit a lot of data on these lines, and so we'll utilize emojis either for things that we really want to stand out or to like reduce the number of things that we're writing in so that we can still identify what we're looking at. So frequently I'll put number of squares as one of the custom job fields, and so if I just have the square count in there, if it's like 33.3 squares, it usually is just the number 33.3. So if I add that into the job field and don't write square count or squares into the line, then it just says 33.3, and it's not quite as easy to identify what that is. All right. So let's say we want to see something else. Let's say we go back to our board and I'm looking at my options to edit those job fields, and I'm like, hey, none of these options are really exactly what I want to see. Because in this edit, because in this edit option, this custom section, again, is all of your custom job fields. So there are some job fields that are preset when you start working in JobNimbus, but you can also make any custom job fields that you want to see. So if I want to see something else on this job card and it's not an option in here, I can build that. So if that's the case, let's build a new custom job field, okay? So we're gonna go up into settings to create a custom job field, and that's gonna be under workflows and fields. So if I click that drop down, I now have job fields. So I'm gonna click job fields here, and that is gonna give me my list of all of the job fields that I have created in this system. So I can add a brand new job field with this button over here. And I have a few options of what type of answer I can put into that job field. So date is going to force it into a date format. You'll be able to, I believe, select it from like the calendar view. Decimal, if you select decimal, it will allow you to display it as currency. So if it's an answer there's always going to be $1, then you can make it decimal and hit display as currency. The Boolean is the only other one that's a little bit confusing. That is literally a checkbox. So you check it, you check for yes, or you leave it blank for no. But Boolean is I don't know where they got that word exactly, but that just means checkbox, yes or no checkbox. If you select number or decimal, it is not going to let you type into that space. So if you want the option to type into that line, you do need to pick text so that you can write in details, or options list where I could write in option 1, add new, option 2, add new, and let's do option 3. Great. So we have our options here, test job field. Great. And I could save that. If you do hit that required button, this required button, if you check that, then you will, anytime you create a new job, it will be required that you fill in the answer to that before you can save that job. So if it is something that you want to check as required, that information will need to be obtained at the time that you are collecting that job data to enter it into the system. So the only things that I've typically required are like lead source and some other things like that, that you know they're going to have that answer when they are entering the job into the system. So be relatively sparing with that required option because they won't be able to save the job until they have entered that data. So now that I've created my job field, test job field, you can see it's at the bottom of my list now. I'm going to go back to my job board, my company overview board, and I'm going to edit again to change the details of my job card. All right, so let's say here after approved estimate total, I want to see test, and I want to see the answer to that. So I could go into custom, and I could scroll down to my test job field. This is the one I just created. Again, you can name it whatever you want that to be called. It should be something that makes sense to your team. And then the answer for whatever that is going to appear there. So once I save that, now they all have test on that second line after the total of the estimates. And I can come in here and add test job field option 1, have that save, give that a refresh, and we should see that there on Emma Tester option 1. So you can add any data that you want to the job card. Again, if I were to flip over to another, let's go to sales insurance, the data on that card is totally different. So the data on your cards that you set for those 3 columns, you can fit as much as you want into those lines. Oh, I say that, I haven't hit the end of what I'm allowed to fit into those lines, rather. I will say that if that ever becomes too long, like if you put too many things on that line and you can't see the end of it, let that save. If you ever can't see the end of what's written there, you can just hover over it and it will allow you to see the rest of that item. There we go. So if I hover over it, it'll let me see the rest of that insane policy number. So if there's a lot of data in that answer or on that line, it's still visible. It requires you to hover over it. So like I was saying, we have this data on this board, and we have totally different data on the sales insurance board here. So it is all customizable. Whatever you put on that board, it's going to be true for every single card on that board, no matter what status it's in. But it can vary on every single board that you build. It can be different data that you put on that field. Now, of course, if you do create a new job field and there's no data entered in there, it's going to be blank. So just like in the Jane tester card here, there's no option choice selected for that test item, nor is there a claim or policy number written in, so it is blank. So the data that it's going to give you on the job card is only going to be as good as the consistency of your team members putting data into those lines. But if you can put some training around those details and create custom fields to show you that data you want. Any custom fields that you create, you can also pull reports on as well. So the utilization is pretty excellent with those job fields in both of those categories. So go ahead and start testing the customizability of your job cards. Make sure that it shows the data that your team wants to see on each of those boards. And as usual, let me know if you have any questions. Thanks for watching.